Okay guys, I'm here with Ben, one of our fighters here, and a lot of people ask a lot of questions to us about Wing Chun in MMA, and they ask questions about fight training, fight experience, and what has that brought to our fight team and stuff, Iron Wars. So Ben's been training me the last just nearly 2 years and probably a year and a half of proper Wing Chun, and has quite a lot of experience with. For someone who hasn't fought MMA to someone who's now had like 4 fights and has had a quite a good sort of roller coaster of the emotions and ups and downs of what that's all about. So I thought it would be interesting to have some feedback from Ben, because it's always me talking and me telling people how it is or what happens, and I could be making it all up. So it's good to hear from one of the fighters what goes on and share some of his experiences. So maybe Ben, you want to start with maybe talk about how you think, what was your perception of Wing Chun before you trained Wing Chun with us?
Well, I don't mean to disrespect you, but it was pretty hokey before originally, you hear Wing Chun, you think, out of shape guys pretending to
fight, yeah. I mean, this is what happens. When I meet MMA guys, especially and they say, what do you do? And I say, I do Wing Chun, but. I always say, but. Because I know they look at me, they go, that Kung Fu stuff, they're always being friendly, but really they're saying, what are you doing that for, And then when I say I do wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and they sort of think, well, why are you doing Wing Chun? And then when they see it, the way we do it with our structure system, it's very different to what they're saying. And the first thing they will say is, this is nothing like I thought, right? So is that the sort of experience?
Well, because when you first came here for the first year, 4 or 5 months, I didn't even come to the Wing Chun classes. Because I knew you were a black belt under Leon DeGale, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or something, And I enjoyed the training, enjoyed the wrestling, and then slowly more and more we started drilling the Wing Chun, and I started seeing how that affected the wrestling, how it was still the same principles applied to all those different areas, like clinch sparring and how to control someone.
I suppose what I do with a lot of the MMA fighters is I suck them in by beating them up a bit with the Wing Chun Chinese boxing stuff that I teach, because that's really a kind of stripped down version of all the basic stuff that we do in our normal Chi Sao training, our normal form training. But then purely applying it to how you apply the core of it. So I kind of use that to get the guys to spar with me and see what they know, what they don't know. And very quickly they find that they've learned some basic stuff, but then there's no system to their striking. And if they're interested in jiu-jitsu, especially, and jiu-jitsu is very much a system, it's very much an art form. And if you have that jiu-jitsu mindset and then you look at the way we do Wing Chun, it's very, very similar in terms of all the generic skills and the qualities of what you need to be efficient, right, and to be effective. And that's all in our striking. And most people think striking is all about just hitting hard, hitting fast, and throwing combinations. And that's not what striking is about at all. So I suppose, now it's interesting watching you. You've gone from someone who couldn't punch out of a paper bag to someone who gives me a bloody hard time all the time, right? And it's very hard to hit, and you've got tremendous power. It's been quite a big difference, right? And how has that felt for you? From someone, did you want to do MMA when we first met, or was that something that happened after?
Definitely. I've been a big fan of MMA since I first saw it on VHS tapes sort of thing. But it was always a pipe dream. I never really thought I could do it just because I did. I trained I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a couple of years before we met, and I'd done some MMA sparring, but it was just training with guys who would basically beat me up sort of thing, and I wasn't learning, just getting beaten up basically without. And it was more that training hard, just taking shots and without, that brawling style. But that's why I was real skeptical of the Wing Chun, because I was ignorant to begin with, because I thought Wing Chun fighting was all Chi Sao.
Yeah.
That's just how you fought, It seems some people still are ignorant to that.
Yeah, then we've had that conversation today.
When you I had a light bulb moment when you mentioned it's just a training tool to help, and then we apply it. You mentioned, you referenced the floor to ceiling bag and the speedball in boxing, and boxers don't go into fights and punch like this, but they use that tool to distance and timing to help them. And then from then on, it's just been gone up and up to the point where I actually sort of prefer to stand with someone now. I consider that to be my strong point.
Yeah, and I think it is a strong point now, yeah. For sure. I would say in our group, Ben has actually applied his work effort to his jiu-jitsu and to his Wing Chun, and you've reaped the rewards of that now, because your timing. That's the thing, is timing. It's not just learning how to punch with your elbow down and use your hip, right? It's kind of like good boxers do that, right? It's not just that. I mean, there is a structural thing that we do and how we do it, but it's actually developing that real timing of that skill, which is the actual deeper levels of Wing Chun, right? If you just learn the forms, doesn't mean you have that form level, right? To me, the levels of the forms are in the levels of application of that skill. So if you can apply good timing and good movement and good rhythm, that's a deeper layer of the skill. And that's what we've got now, really. I mean, when we spar now, it's like a cat and mouse game of who's going to first win that position and then succeed from that position, right? And until you get that, you don't feel like you're really in, do you?
Yeah, I mean, what sort of the structure behind it, which has given me a good base for defence, and I think that's the most important thing, how we always teach people to defend themselves. I mean, I've still got a long way to go, but now I feel comfortable that, yeah, I can be in the ground, I can defend myself,
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing wrong.
And that's what I always say to people, and that's how we teach jiu-jitsu. We teach them reverse, right? We don't teach the submissions first, we teach the escapes and control position. Because then you feel comfortable, and you feel that you can roll, you can survive, and then you can watch what's going on, and you can start picking the techniques up, right? And that's the way we teach Wing Chun. It's all about learning the structure of defense, know your own body movement, your own body position. And once you've got that, then you have confidence, right? And the confidence develops, and then obviously your confidence has gone to the point where you've had a full, pro MMA fight. So, that's not something that happens overnight, but it's happened in a fairly short time because you've grown in confidence from what you've developed, right?
Yeah, I think it's important what you said about the jiu-jitsu. Like when I first started training with you, I knew a lot of techniques because I was training with a lot of black belts, so I knew a lot of submissions, but I know structure behind it, so I could never get to those positions. I was sort of just
because we had that with the jiu-jitsu, didn't we? A lot of the jiu-jitsu guys, when they first started with me, they knew a lot of stuff because they've been training a long time, but they couldn't actually apply anything. And I could submit them all very easy. And I don't class myself as being, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I'm not like a you said there's black belts and there's black belts, right? My teacher is a black belt, right? He's awesome, right? So I mean, in Wing Chun, I will say I class myself as being, one of them type of black belts, right? In jiu-jitsu, there's 1,000 black belts who are awesome, and it's one of my styles of martial arts, and I'm very dedicated to it. But to be able to tap everybody out very easily without really having to try shows that obviously there was something missing, and now that's a virtual impossible thing to do. To tap people for free, you don't get that anymore. But that was happening because everybody had lots of techniques, but didn't really have that structural base. And I think what I bring to my jiu-jitsu is that structural understanding for the Wing Chun as well. It seeps into everything we do because the language that we use is consistent. How we link, delink, how we control our base. Because in jiu-jitsu you hear about base a lot, and like my teacher is very focused on where your body weight is, how you use your base. So I was very fortunate to train and to still train with Ian Nagar. And that really was the first time that I learned jiu-jitsu that I felt, I can really learn this now. Because I started jiu-jitsu quite late, and I wanted to try and learn efficiently, because obviously jiu-jitsu is a gentle art, but it's not really, right? You're getting chewed up and smashed a lot. And if you have to spend 3 or 4 years getting smashed up before you learn anything, as you get older, it's not really, what you want to be doing so much. So, for me, to find someone like Leo who had that also had understood that language of how to use the body, it made a big difference. And I think that's something that we've probably integrated into our way of training without even thinking about it.
I think that's what you said about just referencing the jiu-jitsu again. It's just similar to how I feel my Wing Chun, my striking style, because I've sort of thrown away more techniques, but what I do now is more structurally sound. Like you saw my last fight, the guy was throwing lots of different. He threw probably 5 times more strikes than I did.
Yeah.
He threw more varied strikes, but the strikes I throw now are more precise. I know what I'm doing when I'm doing. I'm not just pad punching, what you call them, not just drilling combinations.
Yeah, because some people said to me, but he threw 2 punches. Yeah, but every time he hit the guy was pulverized, right? And then that set you up to control him, to take him down and do what you need to do, right? So, I would say it's all about, efficiency. Efficiency doesn't mean you're first, right? Efficiency means you get the job done, right? So I'm going to need to wait for that, I don't want to rush, wait for position. You look at the great strikers, like say Anderson Silva, the first round he always does just okay, he fills the guy out and seems to do okay, he's alright. And the second round he always annihilates them, right? Because it's always, now I've got your game, I've mapped you out, because he understands his own body movement so well, he just needs to feel out, what do you like to do? How do you like to move? Where's your power? Oh, you haven't got any, okay. So now I can control you, and then I feel confident, right? And, then I know how to take you apart. So he's mapping the person out, and that's really what Chi Sao is really designed for, right? is designed to give you a map to be able to feel people's tempo, timing, rhythm, movement. But if you do Chisao in a static environment and you do it in a drill environment and you don't actually have an alive environment and then you don't put it into your sparring, then you're kind of not bridging the gap between your forms, your drills, your Chisao, your sparring. You're missing stones. If you miss some stepping stones, then it doesn't come together, right? You know. So I think that's the important aspect is getting that to work as an alive environment and to identify what you've been training in a pressure environment, right?
And having that, once you have built that pressure environment, and having that faith in your own skills. You remember my second fight, I still wasn't there, didn't have that faith, so I was rushing, I was trying to treat it like a grappler, and I ended up getting, it ended up being a rough night.
So Ben's second fight, he lost in a decision, but we thought we were fighting a brawler, and it ended up being a guy who was a purple belt wrestling champion of Australia, so slightly different fight than we trained for, because we didn't really focus too heavy on that fight, because it was kind of like a fight where we thought, okay, we got a brawler, that's a good fight for Ben, because he can test his striking skill, not worry about the grappling side of it too much. So we went in there just being fit and strong and just to show our skills. And in fairness to Ben, he busted the guy's face up quite well, but the guy was a good wrestler and was just constantly shooting, and he was strong, right? And when they went to the ground, obviously the guy knew Ben was good, so he just held the position and rode out the round. So most rounds went from Ben striking him, the guy taking you down and then holding you, and just sort of a little bit going on, but not much, and then back up again. So obviously lost the decision, but it was a valuable fight, I thought, because one, you never know what you're going to get, so you can't really trust what a promoter tells you, or you can't always trust and train towards someone else's game plan. You have to have your own game plan, right? And your game plan, it can incorporate what that person's doing. If you know they're a wrestler, then you just do a bit more wrestling for your fight, but you're still going to knock them out, or you're still going to do what you're going to do. That's part of experience. But also at the time, I did say to Ben, obviously he's gone into a high level of fighting at pro level. In the UK, the UK scene is a bit bigger, so you might have 10 to 15 amateur fights, where it doesn't even go on your pro record, so you can do what you want for them fights, And I've seen some very impressive teams. I remember I said to you, John Cavendish, the guys from Iceland were on my show once, and I was super impressed with them guys because the guys that were fighting at ANZAC or amateur level, they didn't care if they won or lost. They just fight, experience, have a good time. I can remember being in the bar with all the guys after, and you couldn't tell who won or lost. You couldn't tell. It didn't matter, because this is just a learning experience. And I always said to Ben and the guys, that's a good lesson to learn. At that level where it's not an important issue, just enjoy yourself and gain experience, and don't let it affect your ego. If you feel that it's going to affect your ego or make you insecure to lose, then you need to fight at a low level first and build that up, because obviously that can make or break certain fighters, right? And Ben was eager to push himself hard, right? So I was like, well, okay, but you don't have that fight experience, so the only thing that can beat you really is your experience. And the times you've had a little bit of trouble has really been down to experience. And obviously, like your last fight was an awesome fight, just for the fact that you were able to be relaxed in your own game and apply yourself the way that you can do. So that was nice to see for you. Because we worked hard for it. So when you worked hard for something, that's what you want to see, really. So that was a bit of a difference, really, wasn't it?
And that just comes from like that with experience, controlling the emotions and all throughout training.
Yeah, so that's interesting. How do emotions affect you?
Oh, jeez. Highs and for me personally, for some reason, getting hurt's never worried me for some reason. I'm not some wannabe tough guy or anything, but it's always been letting you down and letting the team down, and so often that pressure you put on yourself of losing, not hurting, but just losing, not because I don't care what my record is or anything, but just letting people down, getting over that.
It's hard because for me, any of my guys that fight or even do any level of competition, they've already won in my mind, because I'm already proud of them. They've already, even the training alone and the amount of effort that goes into working together is enough to a reward for me as a teacher, as a coach, as a friend. So I don't care. I only care that they win for themselves, because it's nice when people win because they've worked so hard. But winning always feels like you didn't get anything for your hard work, right? So the winning part of it is really more for me. Is more about the person getting some information for their hard work. But if someone loses a fight, if you fight regularly, you're going to lose fights. It's going to happen, right? You're never going to win every fight. Even you might do everything right, and you might just make one mistake and lose a fight. You've seen it all the time, right? People just do one mistake and you lose a fight. So on any given day, you can fight the same guy, next day and win that fight. So that's not really an issue for me, but I understand, and I've had it myself, where people put lots of expectation on you, and it's not because they want to stress you out, it's because they believe in you, right? So they're telling you, you can do it, and you're thinking, man, this is tough. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not so easy. People think I'm invincible sometimes. I say to them, I'm far from invincible. You mean? It's like, but it's a crazy stress. But and it's hard to tell someone not to take that stress on board when they go into a fight, because obviously people, on a certain level, always will. But I remember Eddie Millis, my coach in America as well. That's probably his biggest stress. He said to me was, people thinking you're invincible, because in the gym, and Eddie's awesome. He's training fighters, at a very, very high level, and he's just dismantling these guys, right? And they're like, well, why are you fighting? But it's hard to fight when you're training as a people, because you've got to be very selfish when you fight, right? And that's probably the other side of it, is how selfish, being selfish to the right way, and not being selfish against your team, right? Because some fighters are selfish where they don't care about their team, right? But you need to be selfish in terms of, you need your team to nurture you, and you need your team to support you at the right time. So a good team will rally around the fighter to make sure they get what they want, and a good fighter will support the team back and say, that's cool. I know, like we've often had it where we've had classes where someone's fighting, so the whole class is geared towards that person's game for that fight, right? And some fighters really respect that, and some fighters don't even know that you're doing that because they don't really care. So very quickly a team will either support or turn against a fighter for that reason, right? Because they feel like they're not really supported. And Ben is one of our troopers. He's a real soldier for the team. So he'll be there punch dummy for anybody, and he would work all day for somebody. He'll be there mopping the floors, and so something like that. Everybody's got 100% time for, right? Because that person's done it for you, and you'll do it for them. And it's not a give or take thing. Ben might fight 10 times and someone fights once, but or vice versa. It's just that when the team environment's like that, it makes a big difference, right?
And that sort of touches on again why I put that stress on myself, because for my last fight we had I think 3 cancellations, so we always for 4 or 5 weeks we were gearing up. Classes sort of geared towards me at full through again. So by the time we had this fight, it'd been like almost 7 or 8 months where we'd been geared up for it. So it's like, man, I know everyone's been, I know everyone doesn't care and they want to help you out, but you do take it on board. Like everyone's been trying to help me, so I've got to do this. That's the only thing you're thinking of. So it's that balancing act of
it's hard. I think that's always probably going to be in the back of a fighter's mind. If they care about the team that's training, they're going to care about what's going on. But I think the thing is, when the door shuts, it's just you in there. So my message to all the fighters out there who are training is when the door shuts, it's just you, right? So your team's your team have done what they can do. Now it's time for you to do what the team's given you, right? So the team are always going to support you. So win or lose, that's not the issue, right? You've already, in my mind, anybody who steps up and trains and fights is already a winner. So that's not really the issue. But what other things you think cause stress? The diet, weight cut. Well, you're pretty good on diet, though, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Oh, last time as well.
Well, that's the thing, because what I've found is for some reason there seem to be a couple before my fights, there kind of be that self-sabotage kind of thing, and it's almost unknowingly you do things to yourself, because almost for me it was like if I do this to myself and I cause something to happen, then my opponent didn't beat me, I beat myself. And you always have that thing to rely on and say, well, you have an excuse. Whether I didn't realise I was doing it until the last fights, and messing up my diet and just doing things that I would do every day without even thinking. Yet when it gets,
I think that's part of the stress process of I've seen it actually before when I was in a gym in London. There was a girl who was a figure bodybuilder, and she was really good. And she won a lot of regional championships, and she was going for a national. And the week before the show, she hadn't got her music right. She'd gone off her diet a little bit. She hadn't finished her routine. And I'm like, well, these things should have been done ages ago, right? It's like, why are you doing them now? She said, I've been a bit stressed and blah, blah. And I think she got third in the end, or second even. And her thing was like, well, I would have won if I'd done anything right, So what it was is a lot of people, if they think they did everything right and they got third, then that's who they are, right? And some people can't accept that would be a failure, even though being third is amazing, in that level of competition. So for some people, that's a failure because they feel that that's what they've got, that's who they are, and they've exposed themselves, which is very hard. I mean, I can totally understand that. It's very hard when you expose yourself to the public, and this is who you are, and people can see right at you, right, and you feel very vulnerable. So, it's a difficult thing. I think fighters do the same thing. They sometimes sabotage little things, so there's a little bit of an excuse if it goes wrong, where it's like, oh, if I just did that, the wake up would be easier and I would have more energy, and that's so our message there is probably go for broke, do everything 100%, prepare yourself in way in advance, right? Do the right stuff, don't give yourself that excuse. If you come up short, it's fine. You're already a winner. You've already done everything you need to do. But don't let yourself get caught in that trap, because then you don't achieve the things you could have done, right? What could you have done if you'd done everything right? So, and then after the fight, you can eat your cakes, and you can cheat on your diet, right? But that's that last fight you did that a little bit as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
and the weight cut was hard, right?
Yeah.
7 kilos, right? So it was tough, right? Yeah. So I mean, I didn't give you my sympathy in the weight cut because I thought it's your fault, right? So that's my, sometimes with a fight you have to sometimes say, well, that's up to you. You did that, so you've got to go through that, right? And that then set them back on the track to be okay. The ball's with me, right? So I need to do it, right? And everything was fine. So yeah. What else would you say would be a stress?
And for me, that personally lies under those things. That the whole putting the stress on myself, and really, like you said today, like. It's easy to say that, but no fighter wants to listen. But at the end of the day, it's just a fight, It doesn't change who you are. It doesn't change, anything. Yeah. The sun will rise again tomorrow, so you got to really ask why you're doing it, sort of thing. Yeah. And some people ask me stuff about Wing Chun, and I think on forums and stuff, sometimes people think I'm a bit argumentative and egotistical, or always things sometimes that some people will put on me. Other people give me very nice compliments. It's very nice, but at the end of the day, none of it means anything, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think. Right? What I think is irrelevant. It only matters what you understand and what you think in yourself and what adds value to your life. Right? If it doesn't add value to your life, it doesn't matter. If you think I have some experience I can share with you, then that's great. And if you don't, there's no problem either. Right? But if some people try to tell me what I think or what I'm doing, that kind of probably irritates me probably from an ego point of view. But also from the integrity point of view of me knowing what I experienced through training my fighters and years of work, and I feel some sort of obligation to kind of set the level straight from people teaching hokey rubbish, and people coming up learning Wing Chun are exposed to this stuff and think it works. So I feel like I'm obligated to put my view out there to share that view, so hopefully people have a more balanced view. It's not because I think my view is better. I don't care, because it doesn't make a difference. I mean, I'm doing what I'm doing, where I'm doing it. So if you believe in that or not, it doesn't make a difference, right? So people take it very personal, think, I don't like this, I don't like that. There's loads of things I don't like. There's loads of things. I don't like strawberry ice cream, right? Doesn't mean, no one else can have it, right? So, but, I prefer chocolate ice cream, right? So that's what we have, right? No, but, it's like, it's all irrelevant, nothing. It's only relevant to what it means to your development and your learning. So, people are very focused on wanting to know the answer, right? The answer, if you don't know the answer, then you don't know it, right? It has to be something that you feel that you're comfortable with, right? So, that becomes an irrelevant situation to me, right? So all that forum, stuff is kind of crazy, right? I only get involved in it because I feel I have to voice an opinion when people are making assumptions about what we do, because I think it's detrimental to the development of my Wing Chun in terms of people making choices, right? If they want to go and train one of my guys, but they've heard that what we do is not Wing Chun, so that annoys me a bit. But other than that, I think people need to have a balanced view. And some of this Wing Chun that people talk about that it's too deadly for MMA and stuff. I mean, what do you think about that sort of thing? It's such a nonsense, right? Well, that's the only thing that really fires me up. I think it fires you up about when you go on these forums is if people are just in their club and they're doing all this hokey rubbish or whatever, and that's what they enjoy doing. Yeah, fine. Do what you got to do. But if people are paying you money, and you're telling them you can tell them they can actually fight and they can defend themselves, they can defend someone else. They're going to get themselves in trouble. They're going to engage someone, either defending themselves, and it's like that. And that's when I really have a problem with that, because someone can really hurt.
That's it. I've seen people do demonstrations at Wing Chun clubs, and they can't even work out how they're going to do it in terms of if the guy does this, I'll do this, and I'm just thinking, man, it's like if I say we're going to do a demonstration, we put the gloves on, we just spar, or we just do Chiefs Out Live, and we go for it. It's just like that's a demonstration, right? Demonstration isn't made up. If the guy does this, I'll do that. It's just that doesn't exist. I mean, and they can't even do it. You know, they're doing it in slow motion, and they're not even blocking the punches properly, right? So it becomes like a bit of a farce, right? But yeah, I suppose that's what gets my back up a bit, because obviously I love Wing Chun, you know, and for me, I'm very passionate about the art, you know. So you know, I take it a bit personal when I see all this rubbish being taught, and then people think, oh, because you think something's rubbish, it's ego. It's not ego. It's I think Dwayne Harper, one of my students, said something recently on the forum, which was quite interesting. No, it's not about me thinking it's right or wrong or ego. It's about tried and tested skill sets, right? If it's tried and tested, then how can you say it's not working, right? If yours is not tried and tested, then how can you say it's working? You can't just hide behind the fact that it's too deadly to test, right? It's like, you know, you can take things down to the base level and test them, right? I mean, if you can't do it under a little bit of pressure, then it's probably not going to work, I think, right? You know, so yeah, that's probably the biggest pet hate, I suppose, of that sort of stuff. But yeah, is there anything else you want to add to people on this one?
Well, that's a very important point you bring up, that the testing. Well, that's basically why I fight now. Like, I've proved something to myself, and now I enjoy it. But it's more testing what we do each day. Like that's basically like our laboratory in the cage or the ring. You know, we test it out, and those fights I did lose, you know, we go back and we look at what mistakes I made, and then I can teach the guys. I can show them what we did wrong and build from there.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point. A very, very important point is, you know, people say to me, oh, you don't respect some of the other systems, or you don't respect this guy that way. And there is some people that I really respect. I've got some very good friends in Wing Chun, so that's obviously nonsense number one, right? Even my old teachers, some of my old teachers like Jack Contu, one of my original teachers, and I trained briefly with Derek Jones as well, and one of my C Hings from Jack, Michael Street. Them guys are like machines, man. You know, they're not the type of people who want to get in a fight with, right? You know, so there's people out there that they're a little bit under the radar sometimes, but there's some really good guys out there, you know. So, and there's some other branches of Wing Chun that I think are pretty good, other than what we do, right? So it's not true that I don't like a lot of Wing Chun. I don't like a lot of the Wing Chun that I see that's rubbish. Yeah, that's different, right? But you know, it's not true to say that it's a broad statement, you know. So there is good guys out there, right? But there is a lot of rubbish Wing Chun out there. So you know, when you look at what people do and what they teach, it has to be something that's in an environment that's going to be tested. And I don't respect a lot of them people because I respect my fighters. My fighters are the people that I respect. My students are the people I respect, because they're the ones that are training and working, and they're the ones that, like Ben, have given all this feedback from their fights. And like all my original guys, Aaron Baum, Neil Corcoran, Simon List, all my guys from the original guys that I taught that started the Iron Wall fight team maybe 12 years ago, maybe longer than that now. Them guys had limited resources, right? You know, we had limited resources, and we wanted to just test our Wing Chun, right? And they were very, very successful, right? So, you know, the next generations of fighters that we have are still testing what we're doing, still giving that feedback. So we have, like, I think it's probably 3 generations or 4 generations of fighters over the years, and we also have people like Dwayne that have his own groups of fighters that are also, you know, part of our system and part of our training. So it's just different generations of our guys that have tested. They're the guys I respect, you know. I don't respect somebody, you know, who's teaching stuff that they don't break a sweat and they don't believe in sparring, they don't believe in this. I'm like, I can't respect that, you know. No, I don't. I fully don't respect that. I respect the guys that work hard, and I do respect other lineages and other branches of Wing Chun, of course. I don't respect all of them, no. But that's just my opinion. You know, my opinion could be worth nothing to you. That's no problem either. So I am opinionated about my opinions, but my opinions don't have to be your opinions, right? So, you know, I don't understand why people get so upset about something they don't know about. You know, if I see a system that I don't understand, the first thing I want to do is learn it. If I like it, you know, I've learned 5 martial arts, so I didn't learn 5 martial arts because I'm closed-minded, right? It's a lot of hard work and dedication to do that. So, you know, but the people I respect are the people that are working hard, that are giving back to the system. You know, there's some good guys out there. You know, there's some good guys from other lineages out there, but there's also obviously a lot of stuff to filter out, right? And what we're trying to do is offer different views, and people like Ben and the fighters I have are giving feedback so people can hopefully gain some insight from that. So, anything else you want to add?
Just have fun.
Yeah, have fun. Yeah, people think I'm really serious, right? Everybody's like, oh man, Alan's so serious. Well, when I'm doing martial arts, my game face is on. I'm applying my technique, but I'm not that serious about that sort of. I don't take martial arts that serious, right? I suppose I'm quite kind of focused on what I'm doing whenever I'm doing it. I seem to be very serious, but I take life focused, not serious, right? Focus is different, right? I have 100% focus all the time, right? I wake up focused, right? My wife will probably say that, but I wake up, with intention. I'm going to get up, go to work, do this, I'm doing that. My mind's set. I can work through the whole day doing stuff, right? I train 4 or 5 hours a day most days, so there's a level of discipline and focus, right? Have fun, enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, why are you doing it? That's the thing, right? We put ourselves through a lot of pressure and stress for something, that we need to enjoy, right? So I hope that's helped and give you some insights into a few little areas. And we're going to do some more blogs like this for our member section. I think it's very, very important to get good feedback from all the guys around. So thanks very much.